2019 Hyundai Santa Fe Sport Car Review. When the fourth generation in the Hyundai Santa Fe continues sale after 2018, the emblem will be returning to completely relaunching its entire SUV lineup, although this revamp includes a little confusion. This new Santa Fe is effectively a substitute for the outgoing Santa Fe Sport. Today's longer wheelbase Santa Fe continues for one more model year, rechristened the Santa Fe XL, until a different thorough SUV under a brand new name debuts for your 2020 model year. Along with the revolutionary Kona and fuel cell Nexo, there are going to be a new Tucson plus a smaller Kona crossover by 2021, too. If you're counting, that's 6 newer redesigned Hyundai SUVs in as many years. The good points of 2019 Hyundai Santa Fe Sport: sharp looks, bigger inside and outside than the Sport it replaces, full of features. The bad points of 2019 Hyundai Santa Fe Sport: some low-rent plastics inside, small fuel economy bump, so which is this, again? For now, this issue is the modern Santa Fe no longer Sport, and, just by our drive of South Korea spec vehicles, Hyundai is on the good track. For starters, the newest SUV looks more grown-up and handsome. The rear glass is much more vertical, a boon to headroom to the sort of optional third-row seats on that later and cargo space. With shorter overhangs, an extended wheelbase, greater length, and a little more girth versus the 18 Santa Fe Sport, interior space increased, too. Hyundai increased visibility by making use of what it claims is 41% more glass area compared to the outgoing Santa Fe Sport to nurture the marked markets of empty nesters and families moving up coming from a sedan. Hyundai calls its new grille design cascading, although naming facial features is often a faux pas unless your business is Rolly Fingers or Ambrose Burnside. The polygonal design comes in black or bright finishes, as well as its design theme carries on to the interior, echoed in elements such as seat pattern as well as the speaker covers. It's a good design touch that partially accounts for some hard-looking and feeling plastics, particularly around the seldom touch trim pieces about the lower instrument panel. One thing that hasn't changed could be the font Hyundai functions for its switchgear, which reminds some of us on the often ridiculed Comic Sans. If it doesn't bother you, you'll love the dashboard's simple, straightforward layout, complete having a standard 7.0-inch touchscreen infotainment display 8.0 inches should you opt for navigation. Initially we feared how the volume and tuning knobs, situated the lower corners in the infotainment display within the dash, would demand a long reach, but are both easily accessed on the front seats. Base cars may have an instrument panel that has a 3.5-inch LCD screen coming from a conventional tach and speedometer. In upper trim levels, an analog tachometer and fuel and coolant temperature gauges flank an optional 7.0-inch virtual cluster within the instrument binnacle. Depending for the driving mode, this display changes its color theme: blue for normal, red for sport, green for eco, and it may display an electronic watch out or possibly a facsimile of your analog speedometer. Throttle and transmission calibrations change with such modes, although we found little reason to divert from normal. For its first model year, the Santa Fe includes two familiar inline-four engines, the 185-horsepower 2.4-liter plus the 235-horsepower turbocharged 2.0-liter found throughout Hyundai's lineup, paired through an unfamiliar and new 8-speed automatic transxlift Hyundai's own design. All-wheel drive can be obtained across the board. A hot rod the Santa Fe isn't, and its particular 0 to 60 mph times are predicted to be inside 7-second range. Starting in 2020, The Santa Fe will give you a 2.2-liter diesel inline four using a variable geometry turbocharger. Opting with the 190 horsepower and 322 lb-ft diesel also adds the third row that may be optional from the rest in the world. The two additional seats subtract 1 cubic foot of cargo space, 36 cubes for the 5-seaters, 37 and 1.0 inch of secondary legroom. Hyundai admits the diesel Santa Fe's third row is undoubtedly an occasional use thing. "We are able to pilot any with the U.S. spec engines, but the modern transmission worked beautifully with all the Korea spec 2.0-liter diesel. We drove an electric train engine not destined for the market, never shuffling gears awkwardly, although we did notice a few jerky starts from the traffic light in the event the standard stop-start system was active. We adjusted our initial throttle input, problem resolved." Driving in suburban Seoul's mostly congested traffic, both the .0-liter diesel was ample engine. Granted, the posted speed limit's less complicated lower than we're utilized to back home, but our initial gut feeling is which the 180 horsepower engine could be just fine within the US market. And, if the two main .2-liter operates just like smoothly and quietly, it could possibly help boost acceptance of compression ignition in America. A steering column-mounted electric motor provides assistance and keeps feedback through the 19-inch tires. 17s are standard, 18s can also be found largely from increasing. Despite the big wheels, ride comfort is exceptional on the strut front and multi-link rear suspension. Tire and road noise is hushed, too. It wouldn't be a brand new car without a litany of ordinary and optional active precautionary features. The new Santa Fe can be purchased with 6 airbags, forward collision warning with automated emergency braking, lane departure warning and lane keeping assist, driver attention warning, automatic high beams, rear cross traffic alert, and blind spot monitoring with avoidance assist. That's a reasonably standard package of precautionary features these days. Two which can be less common are Hyundai's new Safe Exit Assist and Rear Occupants Alert. Safe Exit warns of any car, motorcycle, or bicycle approaching in the rear and may keep the doors locked if you find potential for getting into traffic, an accidental door removal, or maybe a bike messenger clothesline. The Rear Occupants Alert uses an ultrasonic sensor within the headliner to detect after which warn the motorist, with either the horn or with an app with a connected smartphone, if you find movement from the rear on the car by a child or maybe a pet. Official pricing and EPA fuel economy estimates can also be pending, but Hyundai states that it expects an increase inside 3 to 4% range. That would squeeze combined EPA number at about 24 miles per gallon with the roughly $26,000 base, front drive, 2.4-liter model and 22 miles per gallon with an all-wheel drive 2.0T. When the Santa Fe hits dealers in your fourth quarter with this year, a loaded 2.0T AWD will set you back nearly $40,000. By that time, Hyundai's new lineup are going to be less confusing, hopefully.